Spring Television. Ours it is.
Here are the top stories of the news. PDP's Atiku Abubakar accuses INEC of using a third-party device to manipulate results of the February 25th poll. INEC declares PDP's Peter Mba as the winner of Enugu governorship polls. On the foreign scene, Marburg virus kills at least 5 people in Tanzania as Kenya, Uganda increases border surveillance. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Evelyn Ohiola. And now the news in detail. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has accused the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, of installing a third-party device to manipulate results of the February 25th poll. Mr. Atiku lodged the allegation in a 66-page document filed before the Presidential Election Petition Court, sitting at the Court of Appeal in Abuja. Mr. Atiku accused INEC of using the said device management system to manipulate the election results in favor of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC and its candidate, Bola Tinubu. The former vice president and the PDP are the first and second petitioners, respectively, while INEC, Tinubu, and the APC are first, second, and third respondents, respectively. In the meantime, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Dati Baba Ahmed, has called into question the constitutionality of swearing in the president-elect Bola Tinubu on May 29. Tinubu, the All Progressives Congress APC candidate, was declared the winner of the presidential election by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on March 1st. But Baba Ahmed, in a news chat, argued that the APC failed to satisfy the requirements of Section 134, subsection 2, A and B of the Constitution for election into the office of the president. Addressing President Muhammadu Buhari and the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, the LP vice presidential candidate made the argument that going ahead with Tinubu's inauguration would be unconstitutional. According to him, swearing in a ticket that has not met the requirements of the Constitution is ending democracy. Moving on, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Peter Mba, as the winner of the March 18 governorship election in Enugu State. Mr. Mba polled 160,895 votes to defeat his closest rivals, Chijioke Edioga of the Labour Party, who scored 157,552, and Uche Nnaji of the All Progressives Congress APC, who got 14,575 votes, amongst others. Mr. Mba is the anointed candidate of the incumbent governor and PDP G5 member, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, whose 2 terms of 8 years ends on May 29, 2023. Meanwhile, Alex Oti of the Labour Party has been declared the winner of the March 18th governorship election in Abia State. Mr. Oti scored 175,467 votes to defeat his opponent, Oke Ahiwe of the People's Democratic Party, who scored 88,529 votes.
Number 4, that Mba Peter Ndubisi of People's Democratic Party, PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and in return elected.
Meanwhile, Governor-elect Peter Mba and Deputy Governor-elect Ifeanyi Osai last night paid homage to Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi at the Government House in Enugu following their victory at the polls. The governor-elect visited the governor to thank him for his support and comes after he paid a thank-you visit to Enugu indigents and supporters of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. With Mr. Ogwai to receive the visitors were the Speaker of the Enugu House of Assembly, Edward Ubosi, the PDP chairman of the state, Augustine Nnamani, among other top party officials. Supporters of Mr. Mba had occupied the INEC headquarters in Enugu since March 20th, demanding the announcement of the March 18 governorship election results. In Adamawa State, the All Progressives Congress has suspended the secretary to the government of the Federation, Bas Mustapha, for losing his polling units to the People's Democratic Party during the presidential and governorship polls. The party disclosed that the SGF did not contribute to the victory of its presidential and governorship candidates. Announcing the suspension at a press conference in Yola, the chairman of Gwadabawa Ward said Mustafa was not committed to the APC victory at the presidential election. However, the party's state working committee declared Mr. Mustafa's suspension as unconstitutional, null and void, and of no effect. The secretary of the party, Dr. Rema Chidama, while addressing journalists, frowned at the alleged compromise of the party members who is said were being sponsored by opposition elements. It further disclosed that the SWC has directed the local government executive committee of Yola North to constitute a disciplinary committee to immediately investigate and recommend appropriate action. In the meantime, the Kaduna state government has raised alarm that some politicians in the state are planning to instigate their followers to embark on public protests aimed at breaching public peace. The Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, disclosed this in a statement this morning. He noted that the state government is in receipt of credible intelligence reports of such plans, which include storming the streets in a manner which could lead to a breakdown of law and order in the state. He stated that in view of the reports, the government continues to monitor the situation closely in tandem with security agencies. He added that persons or groups caught engaging in actions which could lead to civil unrest or threat to life and destruction of property will not be spared, as the full weight of the law will be applied accordingly. This is coming 2 days after the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, declared Senator Vasani of the All Progressives Congress, APC, the winner of the March 19 governorship poll in Kaduna State. In Rivers State, Governor Nyesom Wike says he was not against candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, becoming president. The governor said his main goal was to have a Southerner become president. Candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, defeated Mr. Obi and Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the February 25th presidential poll. Speaking during a news chat yesterday, the Rivers State governor said there was no agreement in place for him to work for Mr. Obi. Governor Wike said he supported Mr. Obi as a vice presidential candidate of the PDP in 2019. He said the chief five governors of the PDP fully committed to ensuring a Southern candidate is elected president. Governor Wike also berated the PDP national chairman Iyochia Ayu for failing to deliver his state, Benue, for the PDP.
I don't work for INEC. I don't have any documents with me. I'm not an ad hoc staff of INEC. And so I'm not in a place to rig election for anybody. It's when you have the materials of INEC that you can now talk about rigging. But I'll take exception to Peter Obi's comment that I came out against him. People are not being sincere. People are not being, people are not appreciative. In 2019, asked Peter Obi. I was one of the team that chose Peter Obi to be the vice presidential candidate of Elijah Abubakar. When we met in Elijah Abubakar's house, he said, "These are the names. I will choose Peter Obi." Peter Obi was invited. Well, where we were at Saraki's house in the night. I was fought.
Elsewhere, the state governor, Godwin Obaseki, has said his government remains focused on delivering all campaign promises made to residents of the state before leaving office on November 12, 2024. The governor gave the assurance when he visited Niger College in Ipoba, Hawker Council of the state, alongside top government functionaries. Mr. Obaseki disclosed that he is focused on monitoring and ensuring all projects embarked on by his government are on course to be completed before 2024. He stated that his government has started the process of restructuring the secondary schools in the state, but noted that the federal government policy on secondary schools was weak and unclear. In other news, the Lagos state government has assured motorists of its collaboration with the federal government to ease the traffic on Kara-Bega-Opik axis. The State Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Frederick Oladende, stated that the traffic buildup was due to the ongoing reconstruction works along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. Mr. Oladende, in a statement yesterday, explained that the review of the traffic management plan became necessary because the existing plan is not adequate for the traffic demand towards Ogun State presently. He noted that the plan was reviewed with the state special advisor to the governor on works and infrastructure, who doubled as the representative of the controller of works, Federal Ministry of Works, Aramide Adeyoye. You're still watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We'll be right back after this break.
Aminatu, the legendary Queen of Zazzau, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazzau. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazzau. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazzau by conquest. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the Queen of Zazzau, as a brave, smart and talented leader whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history. Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Fumilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransom Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Ololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born 25th October 1900 and was killed on 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Fumilayo Ransom Kuti as a watershed character in history.
Welcome back and thank you so much for sticking with us. We move on now as President Muhammadu Buhari has signed 2 bills recently passed by the National Assembly into law. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Nasiru Ila, made this known in a statement this morning. According to Mr. Ila, the President assented to the copyright as well as the Federal College of Medical Laboratory Science and Technology JAS bills on March 17. He disclosed that the new Copyright Act expands the rights of authors, raises the sanctions for criminal infringements, and more adequately addresses the challenges posed by digital and online use of copyright works. The Act also provides, especially for the needs blind, visually impaired, and print-disabled persons, to have access to learning and reading materials in accessible formats. Now talking business, the Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) has shared 722.677 billion naira from the Federation account revenue to the federal government, states, and local government for the month of February. This was contained in a communique issued at the end of the FAC meeting for March 2023. According to a statement by its Director, Press and Public Relations, Bawa S. Mukwa, the FAC disclosed that 722.6 billion naira total distributable revenue comprised of statutory revenue, value-added tax, VAT, electronic money transfer levy, and augmentation from forex equalization account. According to the statement in February 2023, the total deductions for cost of collection was 27.4 billion naira and total deductions for transfers, savings, recoveries, and refunds was 109.9 billion naira. Outside Nigeria, the United States Central Bank has raised interest rates again, despite fears that the move could add to financial turmoil after a string of bank failures. The Federal Reserve increased its key rate by 0.25 percentage points, calling the banking system sound and resilient. But it also warns that fallout from the bank failures may hurt economic growth in the months ahead. The Federal Reserve has been raising borrowing costs in a bid to stabilize prices. It should be recalled that 2 U.S. banks, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, collapsed this month, buckling in part due to problems caused by higher interest rates. In Africa, Kenya and Uganda have increased surveillance on their borders with Tanzania after the Marburg virus killed 5 people in the neighboring country. Uganda has ordered immediate screening and testing at its southern border, with health teams at border crossing in the districts of Pretoria and Insigiro put on high alert. This comes days after Tanzania's health ministry disclosed that the virus had killed 5 people in Tanzania's northwestern Kagera region. Marburg virus is a severe and fatal disease which causes acute fever in humans, often followed by bleeding and organ failure. The virus is transmitted to people from fruit bats and spreads between humans through the transmission of bodily fluids. Meanwhile, South Africa's Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor has said the government will discuss the arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court, ICC, against Russian President Vladimir Putin before considering any action. Mr. Putin is scheduled to travel to South Africa for the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa summit in August. It will be recalled that the ICC had on 17th March issued an arrest warrant against Mr. Putin over alleged war crimes in Ukraine. As a signatory to the Rome Statute, South Africa is legally bound to detain Mr. Putin and bring him to trial. However, Ms. Pandor disclosed in an interview that the South African authorities will first consult with the Russian side regarding the warrant. South Africa enjoys tight relations with Moscow in spite of Western condemnations.
Well, obviously, this is a very serious decision by the ICC. We're a member state that has signed on to the International Criminal Court. Many countries which should sign on are not members of it, and we had hoped other forms of warrants would be issued by the ICC, because there are many, many countries and leaders who have practiced very serious abuses in situations of conflict, but they remain unscathed.
In another development, a Russian missile blew up a Ukrainian apartment building this morning after a drone strike on a Kyiv high school killed about 7 people last night. Shocking footage from Zaporizhia city in Ukraine, which was posted by Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, showed a huge fireball erupting from the residential building in broad daylight, causing drivers to speed past in their cars to escape the blast. The number of casualties was not immediately clear, but initial reports said 1 person was killed and a further 32 were wounded. Now let's talk sports. England manager Gareth Southgate says he has enjoyed seeing the enthusiasm of the players to be back together ahead of his side's clash with Italy. The England manager noted that it has been great to see the players sit around chatting, enjoying their training, adding that they are a really good group of people to work with. Southgate added that Tottenham striker Harry Kane will be extra motivation against Italy as he bids to leapfrog former Manchester United forward Wayne Rooney as England's highest goal scorer.
We don't need any more evidence of belief. They've been involved in some of the biggest matches in world football, and they know the level that's required. They know they have the ability to compete at that level. And then the fact that whatever we've done in the past is irrelevant, because we have to start again. We have to have the humility to work hard to qualify again, and it's a great fixture for us to get that underway. I think what we did really well after the Euros was our first game was away in Hungary. We gave one of our best performances, I think, and our mentality from the start was really, really good. I don't expect that mentality to be a problem, but it's a reminder that, you know, these early stages of qualifying are crucial. The type of game we've got to start winning. We have over a period, but we've got to now consistently try to do that. That said, we haven't won here since 1961, so it's another bit of history that we're trying to break down, and that's a great challenge for this team because they've knocked down so many of those barriers in the past.
Now to tennis, 2-time champion Andy Murray suffered a straight-set loss to Dusan Lajovic in the first round at the Miami Open. Former world number 1 Murray, winner in both 2009 and 2013, was beaten 6-4, 7-5 by the 76th ranked Serb. It comes a week after the fatigued 35-year-old Scot lost to Jack Draper in the third round at Indian Wells. Fellow Briton Kyle Edmund is also out after losing 7-5, 7-5 to Wu Yingbing, while Emma Raducanu was defeated in the women's draw by Bianca Andreescu. Murray, currently 52nd in the world, won a remarkable 7 deciding sets among several marathon victories in an exhausting opening to his 2023 season.
Quite incredible from Andy Murray. Applause.
Come on.
Quite incredible from Andy Murray. Applause from 59.
Now, before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has accused the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, of installing a third-party device to manipulate results of the February 25th poll. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Peter Mba as the winner of the March 18 governorship election in Enugu State. On the foreign scene, Kenya and Uganda have increased surveillance on their borders with Tanzania after Marburg virus killed 5 people in the neighboring country. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am Evelyn Ohiole. Many thanks for your time.